In this video presentation, I want to explore comparison tables and how to use them. And I'm going to start off with this statement: a comparison table is just a comparison table. We still need to write about the information in the comparison table. Therefore, we need to use cross-referencing and captions. If you're not sure about these terms, go see my other video which talks about the use of captions, cross-referencing and appendix. As part of this video, we'll be exploring the internal validity of your writing, academic skills, professional skills and readability. Just a normal disclosure, remember these videos are here to give a very simple understanding of a topic, and you should always discuss the ideas which I present in these videos with the person who is marking your work. At the end of the day, they will be awarding you the marks, not me, and they may want you to do it slightly differently. So always check. So in a bit more detail, you will start to recognize that a comparison table is only one element of the analysis process. And that's really important to understand that. I'll say that again. The comparison table is only one element of the overall analysis process. And it's important to understand that the comparison table has its own features and functions, and these features and functions result in different outputs or outcomes of that comparison table. It's important to understand what message that is sending to your reader and the information it is giving. To be clear, a comparison table is like the one on the slide. There will be a list of features and functions on the left hand side, and as you go along the table there'll be a list of candidates, so software 1, 2, 3 and 4, and if the software has that feature or function, you put a number 1 in the table. If it doesn't, you put a number 2 in the table. So it's often referred to as a binary table, although that does produce some confusion with the number scheme, binary number scheme. So a comparison table is probably a safe bet when talking about this. So we have a binary yes or no against a feature list within a table. And this is really useful to compare multiple objects in a very fast and efficient way. And you will often see these comparison tables on shopping websites, where you can compare 3 or 4 pieces or objects, software, technologies, trainers, shoes, coats, in terms of features and functions. In terms of the comparison table, we can add a new feature to the actual comparison table. We can prioritize the feature of functions which we are looking at in terms of the software in this case. So I've got the example here using Moscow, and in the gold box is what we mean by Moscow. So must, should, could, will not. So in terms of the comparison table, in the second column I've got MCF, so must, could and should. Obviously this will be a long table, and M's, C's and S's will be repeated all the way down. And we can see that feature 1 is a must, so that is a priority 1, and we're giving it a value of 1. Software doesn't have it, so they've got a software 2 does not have this feature, so it's got a 0. Software 3 does have a feature, so it's got a 1. However, these type of tables end up being really large and very awkward and clunky to navigate, but it is useful at providing this idea of the importance of a feature which we're looking at within the comparison. So that's a takeaway message when you're thinking about your work. So what we could do, instead of, we could have this big long table with all the must, shoulds and coulds and will nots in the appendix. And that way we can present to the reader at the point of usefulness a table like this, where there's a Moscow column which is the must. So we're saying that all these features and functions listed on this comparison table are required. And what we're doing is we're telling the reader that this is the most important information from the giant, massive comparison table, which is in Appendix 2, Table 55 on page 42. What I will highlight is, because the caption of Table 3 says must at the end there, we could technically remove this second column. That's something to think about in terms of your own work and how you want to go with this. But I'll highlight this again. What you could do is have a table like this within your main body, and you're saying to the reader that this is the most important features and functions which I've identified. If you want to see all the other features and functions which are least important, go to the appendix and find the appropriate table on the appropriate page. If we kind of go back to this big table where we've got a list of all the features and functions, let's say it's 40 items in this comparison table. Each item is specified as a must, should or could, and then we've got a numeric value. I've changed the scoring system here. Instead of just 1 or 0, we now got a number 2. If it's a must feature, I've given it a number 2. If it's a should feature, I've given it a number 1. And then the could and will not I've just dropped completely because I'm not interested in those things. And what we can then do is add up all these values, so the shoulds and musts values, and that will give us a quantitative value for each software. And this table shows us that software 1 is probably the best match for what we're looking for. Again, we can scale this down, filter down the information to the most relevant information for the reader, and thereby increasing readability. And like I said before, in the caption there is the word must, so technically we don't actually need the must column. However, because they're all musts, the scores are all 2s, and again software 1 is the most high scoring software. However, this doesn't necessarily mean that because software's got the highest score, software 1 has the highest score, it's actually the best piece of software. Because there's other features and functions which are in the shoulds, which could actually be as important as the must. And this is one of the downsides of using quantitative analysis when we're doing a comparison. So always bear that in mind. What am I missing? What is the opportunity which I'm missing? So what is the take-home message? Like I started with, a comparison table is just a table. You need a narrative which explores the content of that comparison table in relation to the analysis which you are undertaking. So you can't just provide a table. You're going to need a table, and you're going to need some writing about that table. And that's the take-home message. So we started off with this, a comparison table is just a comparison table. And I'm still standing true to that statement. A table is just a table. It's what we do with the table. And I gave you some examples about how we could alter the features and functions of the actual comparison table to make it more usable within the body text and therefore increase the readability. If we are reducing or filtering the table to the most relevant information, and we're dividing that out into the body text and the appendix, we're now thinking about the internal validity, because we're going to be using things like captions and cross-referencing. If we're doing that, we are lifting both our professional skills and our academic skills. So the use of comparison tables has to be done in a very deliberate and thought out way. And you have to write things alongside your comparison table. You can't just put a table on the piece of paper and say, there's my analysis.